You often say, if you knew how badly you wanted to get into this body, you wouldn't be trying to get out of them so much.
We don't often say that, but we say it every now and again when somebody is talking about wanting to have an out-of-body experience.
Right.
And what we mean by that is you came into this experience with so much intention, and when life has caused you to get a lot of vibrational reality going and you turn in the direction of that, you feel like you described yourself as feeling. It's intoxicating. It's all you want to think about. But most people who are wanting to have an out-of-body experience are sort of bored with life as it is, and they've convinced themselves that there's something better that's out there somewhere, and so it's an escape route.
Yes.
And that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
And that's when we say, if you knew how much you wanted to be in these bodies, if you knew how eager you were to explore the contrast and give birth, and if you knew how much you knew the laws of the universe would back you up, if you knew that all you do is just launch a desire, and that your inner being and all cooperative components gather, and that all you've got to do is just chill, not resist your own desire, allow your vibration to rise, come into concert vibrational alignment, and then ideas begin to occur to you, and then you get to witness the perfect timing as your desire morphs and becomes a reality as these thoughts turn to things. That's what you came for. And if you knew that, you wouldn't be trying to get out of these bodies.
I get it.
You want to get out of these bodies when it's not working, because I want it, but nothing's ever working for me, and everybody else is getting it, but I'm not, and I'm sort of bored with this, and I can't figure it out, and I don't feel very good, and nothing's really working for me, and I think I'll meditate. Maybe I'll have an out-of-body experience. Maybe I'll take some drugs. Maybe I can hallucinate a little bit. Maybe I can get out of this boredom a little bit. And we say, you certainly can do that, but nothing is satisfying like life calling you forward and you going.
I totally agree. And so, okay, so I thought there was a contradiction between what you offer and what Seth offers. And I've been studying both of your teachings in depth, and I find just a delicious satisfaction in the focus that Seth seems to be offering of the non-physical, exploring, well, non-physical realms, exploring dream work. And I wake up from these sojourns just so on fire with passion for life.
It's because it's the limitlessness of it.
Yeah.
And so what's the contradiction?
So I thought there was the contradiction with the phrase, if you really knew how much you wanted to be here in these bodies, that we should be focusing more on...
Here's the primary distinction between Esther's translation and Jane's translation of the same block of thought.
Oh.
It's a very subtle distinction. We'll appeal to your logic just a little bit. So rather than thinking of past and present and future, which is fine to think of because you live in a linear time, but instead think of this and then more and then more and then more. This combination of beings has never been before into all of the universe, and so the universe is expanded because of this conversation. It's just more now than it was before. So when you made the decision to come into this physical body, all who have lived before are forward looking with you here. Humans' distortion of thought goes something like, I'm here, source is more, heaven is where it's all happening, I'm here proving worthiness. Nothing like that is even close. Instead, it's that I was non-physical energy. You got to jump into the storyline somewhere, and I came forward into this experience, and now that I'm forward, everyone who has ever been physical and all that is non-physical is forward with me too. So I'm here not alone, but with all this experience of love and knowing, expansion and understanding of universal laws. And here I am now having another new experience with another new person and giving birth to another new desire that has never been before, and all that is non-physical is forward with that, you see. So all this power and all this clarity and all this non-physical interest in knowing, it could be focused anywhere, but it's important for you to know that it's focused here with you now. And that's what Seth meant when he said your power is in the present. That's exactly what he was talking about, right here, right now, where the physical you and the non-physical you converge. And if you are in modes of thought where you are allowing satisfaction, then you're allowing the bursting forth of all that all of us know to come forward into your mind right here and now for you to apply to this powerful moment. And you know what? Even if you're not doing it, even if you're not allowing it, we are all still doing it. And so the forward motion is happening, even if you, who gave birth to it, is not right now, this red hot minute, letting yourself in on the discovery of it. And that's why then we loop back around again and we say, you've created this vortex, get in it. And you all said, I want to get in, I just can't find the door. We said, feel it. You can't see it or hear it or smell it or taste it or touch it yet. Here it is, it's right here. And you got so annoyed. We wrote books. Get into the vortex. How do I get in? And then you began saying something really helpful. Abraham, how do I get my money out of the vortex and into the bank? How do I turn these thoughts to things? How does this vibrational reality that you have now convinced me exists, Seth did it long before we did, this vibrational reality that does exist, how do I manifest it here? How do I make it more? How do I give it flesh and blood and bone? How do I give it structure? How do I make it so that not only can I live it, but others can live it and see it too? And we say, you got to line up with it. You've got to be a vibrational match to it. You've got to get in the receiving mode of it. And so then, instead of asking you to get into the vortex, we ask you to accept the reality of the vibrational reality, the vortex, and to not do that thing you do that keeps you from receiving it. Instead, meditate, quiet your mind, stop negative thought, get into the receiving mode, and then the thoughts begin to flow to you. The thoughts of all that is non-physical begin to flow to you. The new combining of the new thoughts that you have given birth to, the addition that you've added to this time and place. You, the creator of your own reality, with all that has gone before, take this thought in a new place, and it manifests for you, to you, and through you, and for you, and because of you. And that's satisfaction, and that's the reason for all life.
It is. I get it.
Yeah.
One other question. So here I am in the now, and my reality is expressing or showing up, and you say that I think, I could be distorting again, that when whatever shows up, you're a match to it. Is it possible that whatever shows up, you're a match to before, because there's a delay? And so if you're feeling cranky here, you're going to create a reality that's going to show up that reflects that crankiness, but it might not be instantaneous. So you might be feeling good in the future, and then a cranky experience might show up, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I created that from that moment back there.
Well, there is some of that, but not significant in the way you're describing it. Here's what you're trying to get at.
Thank you.
We think you're really going to like this. Because your inner being knows who you are and what life has caused you to create, and therefore where you're headed, what you want to experience. If you've been listening to us for a while, you've heard this expression. We offer it all the time: path of least resistance. We want you to hear path of least resistance in a new way right now. It's your path of least resistance, which means it's the path around your resistant thoughts. So life causes you to ask for something new, but you can't all of a sudden just stop believing all the things that you've believed. You've got resistant thoughts, and those resistant thoughts are in your way. But your inner being doesn't ask you to get rid of all resistant thoughts before you receive motion forward. Your inner being will guide you around your resistant thoughts toward what you want. So sometimes the way that plays out a little bit is that you'll be guided to clarity through what you might call negative experiences, and then you want to say, well, that's just the backlash of my negative thought. And we want to say, no, it's because of the existence of resistance that your loving and kind inner being takes into consideration, as your inner being never stops moving you forward no matter whatever. Another way of saying that is, if you have a strong enough desire, it does not matter what you believe, your desire will carry it. Like the mother who finds the automobile on her child, and she's never believed that she could pick a car up before, but she can today, because her desire is more than everything. Her desire is so powerfully focused that what she has believed before does not apply. Esther had a stunning experience the other day. If you've been listening to us, you've heard it. You might be tired of it already. We aren't. She has a house in Del Mar, 2 houses, and she hadn't been there in months, and she sat at her desk to look out at the ocean, and the ocean was gone because her own trees had grown over and had blocked her view. And her gardeners came that day, and she said, can you trim those trees on the side of the property there? I can't see the ocean from my desk. And they said, yes, we will. They said they would start right away. A friend came, picked Esther up for lunch. Off they went. They were gone all afternoon. The gardener said, we'll trim the trees, but there might be something down in the gully that might be part of your obstruction. And Esther said, well, I only own half that gully, so just make sure that what you cut's on my property. And they gave her a thumbs up, and off she went. She came back after being gone a few hours and stood on her deck and looked out, and the ocean was back. She was so happy. And then she looked off a little ways, and she saw something that upset her. 2 great big tree trunks cut all the way down to the ground, not on her property, clearly up by the neighbor's property. And she thought, how could they have misunderstood me? Ocean view, great. This not such a good thing. And then she thought, trying to justify it, maybe the new neighbors, or maybe the people who are remodeling that house are new and they don't know about those trees. So a day or 2 went by, and then she noticed a man in a suit standing out on the patio looking at the tree stumps. And he got his phone out and took a picture of them. And Esther thought, I have to go confess. She had not been to the house before. She didn't know really how to get there. It was across a ravine. She didn't know if she had to go down and drive up or go up and drive down. It took her a while to get there. And when she got there, he was gone. But all the way she practiced her story, her speech. I did this. It's my fault. I didn't mean to do it. I will do whatever you need me to do to make it up for you. I'll replant the trees. I'll replant the biggest trees we can get in here. I'll replant your whole property, whatever you want. Didn't mean to do that. But he wasn't there, so she didn't confess, and she didn't make her offer. And then another day came, and she went again to lunch with the same friend. And when they came back, she said, let me show you what I did. And she took him out to the edge of the property, this time walking through the lower house, pointed over, and he looked at the tree stumps and he said, Esther, your gardeners didn't cut those down while we were at lunch. Where's the debris from the trees? Why isn't the hillside torn up? And Esther thought, yeah. Then she walked out to the edge and she looked up, and there was a very small tree on her property, and everything they'd cut from it was still lying right there at its base. And all that had happened is they'd cut down a tree, and now she could see things she couldn't see before. And it shook her up. She said, there must be all kinds of stupid beliefs that I have that are not valid, that I've just picked up. Circumstantial evidence. She was just moving in that direction, and when she thought about it, how could she believe something so unbelievable? They would have had to have brought a helicopter in, hooked it to the tree, sawed it off to the bottom, and hauled it away. That's the only way that could have happened. And yet, because of the way it unfolded, she believed she had cut the trees. Of course, you understand what we're getting at is, as people live lives, they gather all kinds of circumstantial evidence. And by that we mean evidence of circumstances. We mean evidence of what isness. We mean evidence of what is, which flies in the face of what can be. Evidence of what is, which is in the way of solutions. And as people are so determined to focus on what is and believe what is and beat the drum of what is, then they don't have satisfaction. So you have to find some way that you can free yourself of the things that are hindering you from your improvement without leaving you unstable. We are not asking you to get lobotomies. We're asking you to meditate. We're asking you to give yourself a chance for your vibrational frequencies to rise. Here you are, billions of people having all of these experiences and creating magnificent vortices that are collective in a global sense and are individual in a personal sense. And the laws of the universe all working on all of your behalf. And it is possible for all of you to receive simultaneous satisfaction. But you've got to stop needing to push against that one, believing that getting rid of what they want will get you toward what you want, because that is not how it works. The new is born out of what is, but the new stands independently and on its own. And when you allow yourself to focus in the fresh direction of what's new and feel the fullness of who you are, and you're able to meditate often enough that you are in vibrational sync enough that you're looking at your new world through the eyes of source enough, then that feeling that you were describing is yours constantly. You just feel wonderful all the time. And then something interesting happens to you. You so understand the perfection of how it all works, and you so adore your understanding of these principles and your ability to easily apply them, that you teach through the clarity of your example, and you no longer form together in groups that push against this and push against that. Instead, you just let life show you what life wants to be, and then you just focus in the direction of that, and the energy that creates worlds flows through you with such mastery that you create magnificently and joyously every step of the way.